Welcome back to Logical Creationist. Today we'll be reviewing Legends of RULEZ Part 4. This was released on the 5th of April 2021, and as you can see it's currently on 86 likes and 7 dislikes. As usual, the first 5 minutes are the American Skin trailer, which has been reoccurring in all of the videos. Here it says Legends of RULEZ 4, Water and 3 Restitution Abominations. From 5 minutes and 20 seconds to 15 minutes and 50 seconds, the narrator starts off by telling the viewers that the creator wants all the wicked people to get the full extent of the punishment that they deserve in the lake of fire, hence how we all have free will to do as we please, whether it's to do righteousness or to do wickedness. The Book of Eli, in which the main star in Denzel Washington, the movie, is made by Satan to show how the all-knowing ones operate. That's the movie cover and goes up to there. From 15 minutes and 50 seconds to 20 minutes and 15 seconds, we get a reiteration from the last video on how most women in the Western society are witches in modern day who believe in astrology and horoscopes. And witches were supposed to be killed according to the Old Testament before everything was watered down in the New Testament, allowing evil to thrive and for us to have the world we have at the moment. Black Americans are different from African Americans and are native to North America. However, they migrated from somewhere else. Black American history is rooted in witchcraft, which produces witches and wizards. Then we find out that all DNA testing and ancestry websites are created to give albinos a false sense of identity, which will be broken down later on in the series. Then we have from 20 minutes and 15 seconds to 21 minutes and 40 seconds. There's a text showing the history of Black Americans and Africans in the Americas, North and South America. So that's this text here. Black Americans are not Africans and do not originate from Africa. Africans have always been in the Caribbean and South America from ancient times. You can read that for yourself. So this is so that image that you've just seen is from 21 minutes 40 seconds and up to 23 minutes and 10 seconds. Then from 23 minutes and 10 seconds to 24 minutes and 5 seconds is Years a Slave movie trailer. Yep, there you can see the title. From 24 minutes and 5 seconds to 26 minutes and 15 seconds, we find out that all albinos with orientals and that have straight hair are all from Asia, and everything that we've been told is lies. Then they tell us that the Legends of RULEZ series is a bridge to the shape of our world, which will have preludes as well, but that will be later on. From 26 minutes and 15 seconds to 32 minutes and 20 seconds, we find out that we've been lied to about our water, that 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen of water is pseudoscience, as they cannot prove or show it. Hydrogen and oxygen do not conduct electricity. For anything to conduct electricity, it has to have carbon. So water is actually made from carbon and oxygen and not hydrogen and oxygen. The body conducts electricity as it's made of carbon, and now we know that carbon is the blackness, aka the creator. Then the false sciences lie that carbon doesn't conduct electricity, but it's allotrope. Graphite does, which is illogical, because if the original element cannot conduct, then why would something that is formed from it conduct? But when you're going through these brainwashing systems and you're being overloaded, sometimes you will not think it through. But even with me going through the system, I would always ask questions, and it would annoy my teachers back then, but I didn't give a damn, because I was very much so like, there's a lot of missing holes in these theories, and come to find out it's all rubbish, and it makes sense because I'm not delusional. I'm very straightforward. This goes up to 32 minutes and 20 seconds. From 32 minutes and 20 seconds to 37 minutes and 50 seconds, the narrator tells us that diamonds are a facade and made from a random rock or stone with no real value. Then the Satanists lie that water needs salt to conduct, which does not reasonably match up. And then another thing, that just goes to show the kind of system we live in, where people are brainwashed to spend thousands of very valuable money they can use towards growing their own food. They put it into a diamond, and at the end of the day, the relationship doesn't even last. So it's a pity, but that's what people have brought upon themselves. It's 37 minutes 50. Albinos speak so smoothly and quickly, and they have this ability to be verbose. Speaking well does not mean the person has knowledge or wisdom if they cannot make you understand their point, which means that they are speaking which language. And which language, if you couldn't tell, is the English language, which is corrupted from the creator's original language. Up to 45 seconds. From 43 minutes and 45 seconds to 1 hour, 6 minutes and 50 seconds, we have the transvestigation of Willow Smith, which is an MTF, a male to female child of Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. They use the advanced gender techniques, which are only applicable to black individuals, and by those are the tricks of the Estray team, who are trained to understand the differences in mankind. And we see that a black man's collarbone are pronounced, whilst opposite is the case for a black woman. All transgenders are aware that they are ones, so that you can't say, oh, can we save them? They're very much aware of what's going on, unfortunately. And then we have an interlude with a special Bible verse, and some elites do have body doubles to give confusion. And if you're caught up with the channel, as in you've watched the previous videos, you would know more about that, but I'm not going to give any details for that. If you seek the truth, then you'll go look for it. That would be the Bible verse. For obvious reasons, I will not be reading this because I am not an all-knowing one. From 1 hour, 6 minutes and 50 seconds to 1 hour, 14 minutes and 15 seconds, we see that abominations that involve sex are the deadliest because they cannot be reversed, like an abomination of stealing, which can be returned and have interest on top of it. Then the narrator reiterates the meaning of rape, and he adds scripture to prove as such, up to 1 hour, 14 minutes and 15 seconds. The narrator adds his personal opinion, which I agree with, on men and women are not made to be friends, that if there's no business or personal/familiar relationship in between, like a co-worker or the siblings of your friend who you are acquainted with, an extended platonic relationship between both genders, especially of the same age, leads to someone wanting more, and that's usually the man. And if he's not getting his needs met, as bluntly as that to put it, then there's a problem. And because we live in a world where people lie to themselves, this is the situation that we have, where everybody's pretty much delusional. It then moves on to being an accessory to crime is judged as a criminal. So anybody that sees people doing abominations and you tolerate it, then you'll be judged for that instead of departing and setting yourself apart from wickedness. Inbreeding, homosexuality, bestiality, rape, pedophilia, murder, all doers of those acts are going to the lake of fire, as they've cemented their place as children of Satan. So there's no reversing that for them. That is up to 1 hour, 20 minutes and 55 seconds. From 1 hour, 20 minutes and 55 seconds to 1 hour, 28 minutes and 40 seconds. Lying is between two people, and the lie is protecting their own property. But false witness involves a third party affecting someone else and stealing their own property. There are always two or more people as victors against a victim to bear false witness, which is a redeemable abomination. For example, the Hebrew Israelites, who are not children of the Creator, but claiming a false identity instead of their real one, which they've seemed to have forgotten. But if they seek the path of truth, they could find it out. Unfortunately, most people don't. From 1 hour, 28 minutes and 40 seconds to 1 hour, 38 minutes and 40 seconds, we find out that Adam and Eve were not naked until they ate the fruit in the garden. The identification for male and female in the genitalia started after the fall of mankind. In the ancient times, at a maternity nursery, earrings were placed on female babies to show a difference to the male ones, and that the young female baby was to be pierced in the future by her husband for procreation. This shows that males wearing earrings is an abomination, as it makes them effeminate and not masculine. Any body piercings or jewelry is not for men. So to add to that, that was pretty much the only thing about myself I really had to change. For example, now, never got my ears pierced because common sense told me that wasn't to happen. But with popular culture, they have, especially when you see all the elites, so they have you wearing chains and bracelets. So I had to get rid of that. And with me, I like to have something on both of my arms. So I usually now would have a watch in one arm and a fitness band on the other, so that both of them have something on and I'm not committing an abomination. So there's that. From 1 hour 38 minutes and 40 seconds to 1 hour 44 minutes and 30 seconds, all tattoos are an abomination. Tattoos were inscriptions and marks for the worship of the Trinity. Reiteration that jewelry is for women only, and they must pierce their earrings only. So no nose piercings, no belly piercings, no nipple piercings, no private area nothing on the rest of the body apart from their ears. And if they want to do multiple on their ears, that's fine, as long as it's their ears. And for men, obviously no piercings at all. And they show evidence of this in scripture, which was in Exodus 35:22, which is original in the Greek Septuagint, but it was changed in the Masoretic, which the King James and even the Geneva Bible comes forth from. Yes, my memory was correct on that, but obviously I'm not going to read the passage. You can see it for yourself. From 1 hour 44 minutes and 30 seconds to 1 hour 59 minutes and 27 seconds, we see the pastor by the name of Fred Rogers, who was an FTM.
Female to male.
The question we must ask ourselves is, if pastors can be like this, can you trust Christianity and religious groups? Every time natural order is broken, presence of evil and wickedness is always there in demons. From the transvestigation, we learn that albino women have the longest torsos of beings. And anyone who's up to date knows that we can call them human beings because they're not mankind. The narrator had a short story of how he has a friend who is of the descendants of the creator, but he unfortunately picked an Indian, which shows that he's not seeking after the creator, and more than likely is a child of Satan, unfortunately. And if a black person is to pick an albino spouse, it shows self-hatred, as mankind isn't to mix with albinos. And the narrator makes it clear that we are judged by our actions and not our words. That goes all the way to the end. Here is an article going back to Willow Smith, and it's very interesting, where it says Willow Smith, this was quite some time ago, basically 12 years ago, daughter of Will and Jada Pinkett Smith, has written a letter to Tupac, who she believes is still alive. Interesting. I'm not going to make any mentions on that. And is the key to the mother's happiness. The 11-year-old entertainer. Okay, I know you are alive someplace. Now, a lot of people will look at this and start feeling sorry the father in Will Smith and whatnot. But the truth about the matter is, from what I've been able to realize from observing the truth and these people who have the influences, they come out with all of these stories to almost put themselves on our playing field. So if you think that, oh, they're going through the same problems as you don't look into the fact that how come they're well off and it stays amongst them, but we can never get to their level. So that you can never think, because if everything is going well in their lives, you start to think, hold on, Why is everything going well? Why don't they ever take losses? So they fabricate all of this nonsense to make it seem like, oh, we all go through it, and propagates the idea that you can reach them, but you can't. And can't go into more of the details than that until we reach a section that allows me to do so. So that's the end of that, and now we're going to check out the comments. Everyone starts off with introducing themselves. Winged Eternally, looks like an albino woman. Yep, all lives. She says, as it seems, we can't even assume just off the picture, I am white and I am offended by you blaming all of this on white people. If you are so smart, you know that colored people had slaves. Also, interesting. There was not enough reason in this individual's mind to say black people. They just said colored. And if we put it in the right terms, colored usually refers to mixed people, but that's neither here or there. We're just going to move past that because unfortunately it has no substance. Loyola, it seems to find it amusing just as I am, because let's see, you are just as bad as them if you are spewing racism. Then we see V Ward said, who is spewing racism? Winged Eternally replies to V Ward, this racist man is doing this video. I am white and I am not one of them. Furthermore, there are many black people who are part of them. Well, interesting. And they continue with, why do you think God made different races? You don't just say something without backing it. You don't say God made different races, because that was never stated in the scripture that the creator, because we now know God is Satan, created different races. So it's quite amusing but also annoying when people come out and say stuff without backing and just think people are just going to accept it like they do in the education systems. For this very reason, to try the hearts of men, evil men put labels on people to blame someone else. And as V Ward puts it, get lost. And Winged Eternally says, grow up. You guys are the ones lost and you will end up in hell if you don't repent. Can you imagine the audacity of this individual? Well, this is what you deal with when you're dealing with a lot of them, unfortunately. V Ward, law, you have no understanding. God did not make different races. And as you can see, V Ward is tending to the God that Janelle James Alexandra, knowledge and truth is not for everyone. That's correct. V Ward, I too studied their ridiculous science lies, waste of time. Indeed it is. And then Winged Eternally comes back to tell us, Father in heaven, please send your angels to the man making these videos to convict his hearts and cause him to turn from his wicked ways. All glory to you, Father Abba. Right, interesting. And V Ward says, oh wow, I can't. He doesn't need your prayers. Yeah, he really doesn't. Winged Eternally says, V Ward, love has nothing to do with head knowledge. Head knowledge. Alright. V Ward, are you the man who made this video? You see, because V Ward is agreeing with the narrator, it means that they're the same person. It doesn't work like that. V Ward replies, if only I was as intelligent as him. And I can understand that, because to be able to obviously speak on behalf of the all-knowing ones is quite a privilege. So I'm sure he's had gotten quite the life experience as well. Winged Eternally says, though I speak with tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I am become as sounding brass or tinkling cymbal. I carry on to say, and though the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries, all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all the goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burnt and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. I don't know what this individual is rambling on about, but yeah, and as V Ward says rightly, please stop, because there's nothing of substance. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity vaunteth not itself, it is puffed up. Seems like it's an incantation. And Yola says, yep, always shills spamming nonsense. And if you've been able to observe the channels that make transvestigation videos, which Tricks of the S-Trade is in a completely different class, so you can't even compare them, which is why that's the channel we're focusing on. That's a terminology that's always used where you have agents, but this is definitely no channel of agents. Okay. Thought of not behave itself unseemingly. Okay. From the next, that's about 6, or should I say 7. It's a lot of Bible scriptures, yes, but because of they've been corrupted, it's absolutely because somebody who is reasonable would at least tell us where they're bringing this stuff from. So you can't even tell, because I can recognize, because I've read the Bible for myself back to back at least twice. So there's certain verses I'll look at and I'm like, yeah, I've seen that somewhere before. But you can't even tell if they've twisted it or not, because you can't now have to type in the whole thing, which I don't have time for that. Rightly so. Loyola and Water is Black can find this amusing, and then they finally come to some sort of reason, which isn't any reason because they're still quite deluded. Praying for all of you wicked people, woe unto you for hating your brothers and sisters who are not your color. Interesting. These are the same individuals that treat animals better than mankind, and if you are up to date with what is going on, you'd know why. V-Ward, they understand humanity very well, and continue to say so many females are starving themselves trying to have a body like a prepubescent male and don't know it. It's very sad. That's why we shouldn't compare ourselves to others, and that's the case. We should definitely not compare ourselves to others and be content and happy with the way the Creator made us and do the best we can with what we have available. CTRLZ says, because who are the men who gatekeep the fashion industry? The phase, and they don't like women. And if you know what phase is, if you replace the F with a G, then there you have it. And then at the end, Susan Martin says the music, and it seems to show that she likes him. That would be the end of the Legends of Roll Call full review. But thank you guys for tuning